Michael, 2026, Movie Explained. Section 1. The Transformation of Jaafar. When the first footage of Michael dropped, the world didn't just see a performance. They saw a resurrection. Jaafar Jackson isn't just playing his uncle. He is channeling a vocal and physical mimicry that has left even the Jackson estate in tears. The training for this role was brutal, with Jaafar reportedly rehearsing the Thriller choreography until his feet were literally bleeding. This isn't just a movie for him. It's a high-stakes blood pact to honor a family legacy that the world is still debating. Director Antoine Fuqua utilized specific vintage lenses to capture the 1970s era, making the Jackson 5 sequences feel like authentic found footage. The goal was to immerse the audience in the warmth of the early years before the cold light of superstardom took over. But the transformation goes deeper than the makeup. It's in the haunted look Jaafar captures in the quiet, off-stage moments. We're breaking down how the film uses lighting to signal Michael's growing isolation as he becomes the biggest entertainer on Earth. Section 2. The Joe Jackson Shadow. Coleman Domingo's portrayal of Joe Jackson isn't a simple villain arc. It's a terrifying look at the architect of genius through fear. The movie doesn't shy away from the physical discipline that forged the Jackson 5 into a precision machine. One hidden detail is the use of a specific leather belt in the background of early rehearsal scenes, a silent, vibrating threat that dictates every dance move. The film suggests that Michael's perfectionism was a survival mechanism developed in the living room of Gary, Indiana. Joe is shown as a man who viewed his children as assets first and sons second, a dynamic that Michael would spend millions trying to heal in adulthood. The tension between Joe's ambition and Michael's innocence is the emotional engine of the first act. We explain the scene where Joe refuses to let Michael play with other children, a moment that the film frames as the birth of Neverland. Michael wasn't just building a theme park. He was reclaiming the childhood his father traded for gold records. Section 3. The Thriller Peak and the Pepsi Fire. The recreation of the Thriller music video set is a masterpiece of production design, using the original 1983 locations to ensure total authenticity. This was the moment Michael became more than a singer. He became a global deity, a status that came with a target. The film's turning point is the 1984 Pepsi commercial shoot, where we see the exact second the pyrotechnics went wrong. This isn't just an accident. The movie frames it as the start of Michael's lifelong battle with chronic pain and his dependency on medication. Hidden in the background of the hospital scenes are the first appearances of the doctors who would eventually populate Michael's inner circle. The film subtly tracks the transition from healing to enabling, a slow-motion tragedy that the U.S. audience knows all too well. We break down the moonwalk reveal at Motown 25, explaining how the film used CGI to enhance Jaffar's footwork to match the impossible fluidity of the original 1983 broadcast. This is the high-value production secret that makes the movie feel like magic. Section 4. The Terrace Act of Neverland. Neverland Ranch is depicted as a tesseract of Michael's mind, a place where time stops and the rules of the adult world don't apply. The film uses vibrant, saturated colors for the ranch, contrasting with the gray, muted tones of the legal world outside its gates. We look at the hidden details in the Giving Tree scene, where Michael is shown writing his most famous hits while perched in the branches. The movie portrays Neverland as his only source of oxygen in a world that was increasingly trying to suffocate him. But the film also hints at the something bad looming over the horizon, with the introduction of the first families invited to stay at the ranch. The cinematography shifts to a handheld, voyeuristic style, mimicking the tabloid cameras that would soon define his life. The secret, we explain, is how the movie handles the 1993 allegations. Due to legal hush-money agreements, the film has to be oblique, focusing more on Michael's betrayal by the media rather than the specifics of the courtroom battles. Section 5. The Sanitized Third Act. Reports suggest that the film's original ending was rushed and reworked after the estate discovered legal roadblocks regarding certain accusers. What we see in theaters is a more Bohemian Rhapsody-style finale, uplifting, musical, and arguably sanitized. The third act focuses heavily on the dangerous tour and Michael's frustration with the prince figures in the music industry who were trying to control his image. The secret is that a massive amount of footage from the 1990s was left on the cutting room floor. This leads to the viral theory that Michael is actually part one a two-part saga. We explain how the ending leaves the door open for a sequel that would cover the 2005 trial and the final, this is it, rehearsals in 2009. The hidden detail in the finale is the sound of a ticking clock that becomes louder as Michael walks toward the stage for his final performance. It's a literal and metaphorical countdown to the end of the King of Pop's reign in his life. Section 6. The Bad and Dangerous Era. The film highlights the era where Michael's appearance began its most drastic change, attributing it to the vitiligo diagnosis and the psychological scars of the Pepsi fire. It frames his physical transformation as a chrysalis he built to hide from a judging world. We break down the smooth criminal sequence, showing how the film explains the anti-gravity lean as a feat of both engineering and physical willpower. This is the kind of how they did it content that U.S. viewers search for immediately after the movie. The Dangerous album is presented as his most personal work, with the film showing Michael recording Will You Be There in total darkness. The movie wants us to see the Prince of Pop as a man who was most comfortable when he was invisible. A hidden secret in the production is the inclusion of Michael's actual children, Prince and Paris, as consultants on the set. Their influence is felt in the humanizing scenes that show Michael as a father, a side the media rarely portrayed accurately. Section 7. The Final Curtain Call. The movie ends not with a death, but with a performance, a greatest hits medley that remind the audience why they loved in the first place. It's a crowd-pleasing strategy designed to maximize the box office and protect the estate's brand. But for the Cinema Horizon audience, we explain the hole in the narrative, the missing years of the late 2000s. By ending on an uplifting note, the film avoids something very bad of the final years, leaving that for the rumor part 2. The cinematography in the final shot mimics the interstellar Tesseract, a series of mirrored images of Michael from every era of his life, converging into one final, iconic silhouette. He is immortal, not because he survived, but because his art is recursive. We reveal the secret message in the end credits, a dedicated link to the Michael Jackson Estate's official archives, confirming that this movie is the official version of the King of Pop story, for better or worse. Section 8. The King's Legacy. Whether you believe the sanitized version or the tabloid version, Michael, 2026, is a landmark in cinematic biopics. It has set the standard for the U.S. market, proving that the King of Pop can still command the global conversation decades after his passing. We've broken down every secret, from the bleeding feet of Jaafar to the legal hole in the third act. Cinema Horizon is your source for the high-value analysis of the biggest releases in 2026. Make sure to hit that subscribe button as we track the Part 2 rumors. Comment below. Do you think Jaafar Jackson deserves an Oscar for this performance? And do you want to see a Part 2 that covers the more controversial years? We want to hear your truth on the King of Pop.